Welcome into Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studios of First Horizon Park here. Big old playground, home of the Nashville Sounds. They are continuing a series tonight against the Gwinnett Stripers 1P, the AAA affiliate of the Atlanta Braves. They started the series last night, got a win. Wade was here for Tito's Tail Wagging Tuesday, were you not?
Good crowd on hand on a Tuesday night. It feels like I never left. I didn't sleep here, just in case anybody was wondering. But we're right back at it, and they always take great care of us here at First Horizon Park, and very excited to be back out. Kind of the last few weeks of regular season baseball, which also, kind of gives you those last little tugs at the heartstring for summertime.
Absolutely.
In many regards.
It's hanging on. Summer is, and so are we as we are transitioning, baseball winding down, football starting up, obviously. And so we're going to kind of reflect that on the show, because in the next segment, we're going to be joined by Nashville Sounds General Manager Adam English. And in the next hour, we're going to be joined by the VOTT, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Keith, as the Titans get ready for their season opener against the Bears at Soldier Field. So looking forward to both those guests, looking forward to this show. We're going to talk a little Braves in positive terms for a change.
Got a shutout.
They did. We're going to talk a little bit more about the significance of that as well. Also going to talk a little college football, obviously, a little pro football, probably talk a little WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it is Wild and Wacky Wednesday. So in the final segment of the show, Wade and I will bring you the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news from across the globe.
And I have not clicked on any of these headlines yet, but the headlines alone, you got my attention.
Good.
It's a little dose of wild, a little dose of wacky, it looks like, for this
wild
week.
And wacky. Sort of like track and field. As Ronnie Sigenthaler out at Brentwood used to remind me when they were winning state titles over there. So yeah, great show. Looking forward to getting into it. Top story's pretty well. One, it's two-part, but two, it's kind of fascinating as well. So we got plenty to get to. So let's go ahead and get started with yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
All right, gang, away we go on the Wednesday rundown. Last night's results, we go to volleyball to start things off, where it was Siegel picking up a 3-1 win versus Blackman. Loretto 3-0 versus Collinwood. Columbia sweeping Coffee County 3-0 your final there. Community 3, Battle Creek 0. Gallatin picking up a 3-1 win versus Green Hill. Hickman County on top of Santa Fe 3-0. 3-0 for Lawrence County over visiting Shelbyville. It is Lewis County 3, Hampshire 1. Middle Tennessee Christian 3-0 over Grace Christian Franklin. Summertown picks up a 3-0 win versus Mount Pleasant. Riverdale and Oakland. There's really only one, maybe two matches a night that end in 5 sets. This was one of them. Riverdale wins 3-2 versus Oakland. Good matchup between those two rivals there. Providence Christian with a 3-1 win versus BGA. Smyrna on top of Warren County 3-1 is your final there. Lebanon and Stewart's Creek played a 5-set thriller. Lebanon 3, Stewart's Creek 2. And closing out your volleyball scoreboard from last night, it was White County 3 and Laverne 0.
On the pitch, it was Hillsborough with an 8-0 win over Antioch. Mount Juliet doubled up Beach 2-1. Christ Presbyterian 1, Summit 0. Cane Ridge with a 3-1 win over Hunters Lane. It was Davidson Academy 7, Clarksville Academy 0. Centennial and Columbia Central played to a 4-4 draw. Stewart's Creek defeated Cookville 2-0. Sycamore with a 9-0 win over Creekwood. Donaldson Christian 7, Goodpasture 3. Dixon County 3, Harpeth 0. East Robertson 8, Glencliff 0. Nashville Christian with a 5-0 win over Friendship Christian. Spring Hill doubled up Giles County 2-1. Battleground Academy with a 2-1 win over Grace Christian of Franklin. It was Green Hill 2, Merrill Hyde 0. Overton with a 3-0 win over McGavock. Fairview edged Kirkwood 1-0. Lead Academy with a 4-0 win over Kip of Nashville. Smyrna defeated Laverne 8-2. Lebanon 3, Wilson Central 0. Lipscomb Academy 4, Pope John Paul II 1. Battle Creek 2-0 over Loretto. Macon County 10, Greenbrier 1. It was Martin Luther King 7, Middle Tennessee Golden Eagles 0. Franklin Road Academy 11, Middle Tennessee Christian 1. Page with a 4-0 shutout over Brentwood Academy. Oakland 9, Riverdale 0. Rockvale defeated Blackman 5-2. Nolansville with a 3-0 win over Shelbyville. STEM Academy shut out Stratford 10-0. West Creek with a 9-0 win over Clarksville Northeast. It was Clarksville High School 3, White House 1, and coverage of this one at MainStreetMurray.com as Culleoka defeated host Zion Christian 7-1.
Good win for Culleoka there. As we transition now, go to Major League Baseball. One game on the docket for our squads last night. It was the Braves picking up a 3-0 win versus the Colorado Rockies. More on the Sounds in their big series versus Gwinnett. But last night, your final was 13-4 as the Sounds put the pedal to the metal offensively and, again, pick up a big win here at home. WNBA scoreboard from last night. Seattle picks up a much-needed win. I mean, they've been struggling. They win 71-64 versus Connecticut. Washington on top of Dallas in a good game, 90-86. Phoenix on top of Atlanta, 74-66. And the Aces defeated the Sky, 90-71 was your final score there. Moving right along into your scoreboard, or your schedule, I should say, for tonight. A couple of matches for volleyball, a couple of matches for soccer. We start with volleyball at 5:30, where Webb School will be at Riverdale, and also at 5:30, it'll be Gallatin at White House Heritage. 6 o'clock, Eagleville will travel to Moore County. Wilson Central will be at Rockvale. Murfreesboro Central Magnet is at Smyrna. And your nightcap tonight at 6:30, Spring Hill at Shelbyville. Girls soccer action tonight. Hume Fogg is at Antioch. That kickoff set for 5. University School of Nashville at Webb School at 6. A 6:30 kickoff as Father Ryan travels to Harpeth Hall. And closing it out tonight at 7 o'clock, Hendersonville is over at Station Camp.
Major League Baseball action this evening. 5:40 first pitch as the Astros and the Reds return to the field at the Great American Small Park. Again, that's a 5:40 first pitch. Local TV or MLB TV are your options there. 6:20, you can see it on Valley Sports South as Colorado continues its series at Truist Park against the homestanding Atlanta Braves. 6:35, right back here. It's Gwinnett and the Nashville Sounds. And at 6 o'clock, you can see it on the CBS Sports Network. The Los Angeles Sparks travel to Indianapolis, taking on the Indiana Fever in WNBA play. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your rundown. Your top story brought to you, as always, by Piggly Wiggly and Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and get through there for their delicious daily deli lunch options that are available until 6 o'clock, as well as their hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, bringing you our top story. And this is kind of a two-parter. It's all basketball, though, but two different programs, two different news topics, I guess. Started seeing some social media bubble up on this last night. David Cobb of CBSSports.com has the story from earlier today. 4 staffers with men's basketball at the University of Memphis are no longer, as Penny Hardaway exercising some, by his own admission, not ideal timing to move away from. Lead assistant Rick Stansberry, formerly of Mississippi State and Western Kentucky. Second assistant Faraji Phillips, who had previously been at Vanderbilt and had coached in the high school ranks in Memphis, won a couple of state titles down at Mitchell. Also, Jamie Rosser and special advisor Demetrius Dyson are no longer members of the staff at the University of Memphis, to the extent that when I went to the Memphis website to pull up Faraji Phillips's bio. Scrubbed.
Man.
Got the 404 already. So, but I want to thank Rick Faraji, Jamie, and Demetrius for their service to the University of Memphis and our basketball program. These are good coaches that I've worked with closely over the past few seasons, but I made the difficult decision to go in a new direction with our staff. The timing is not ideal, but I want to give this team the best opportunity to reach our goals of winning the American Conference and advancing in the NCAA tournament. We are live.
Oh, yeah.
On location. With the season rapidly approaching, we are going to move quickly to complete the staff. I guess my concern, after there were other moves made earlier in the offseason, why, considering that Memphis opens against Missouri on November 4th, why now?
Yeah, the timing.
You've had since, what was it, mid-March when they lost to FAU? Or who?
Yeah, I mean, you've had months. Let's put it to you that way. This is a real head scratcher. So much so that, I mean, I almost did a double take last night when I saw this. Head scratcher in the timing, head scratcher in the sense that he just took a grenade and just threw it in there on the coaching staff, it seems like.
Supposedly, Mike Davis will be added to the staff. Former Indiana coach, also coached at Detroit Mercy. And was he at UAB at one time?
UAB, and I think Texas Southern also.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had some solid gigs over the years.
Absolutely. So I guess that's the gray hair that you lose with Stansbury. And also former Duke and Louisville assistant Nolan Smith is supposedly in the on-deck circle. So, but it's the timing is really, inexplicable to me.
Yeah, this almost kind of feels like there has to. This is one of those classic. It has to be more to the story than what we're seeing, right? I mean, you can put out all the statements you want, thank everybody for everything, but it just feels like some blow up in a meeting or something. I don't know. It just seems like there has been something behind the scenes, because you don't just let go. I mean, this is a full-blown clearinghouse practically, right?
The day after Labor Day.
I mean, come on. I mean, you're getting ready. The kid's already back on campus.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a team that desperately needs to put together, and a coaching staff, what little bit of it remains, I guess, desperately needs to start getting some traction and start getting forward in a positive direction.
Well, they also need to start getting some cohesiveness. They only returned one scholarship player from last year.
Whew.
So now you got a new roster and you got new coaches.
I mean, yeah, that's – man, I mean, unless, the philosophy is not there, that's where I would like to know more. And it feels like maybe, 3 months from now, when this story's kind of really settled down, somebody will leak what really happened. But it just is a head scratcher right now.
For sure. On the other end of the state, first-year Tennessee women's basketball coach Kim Caldwell announced yesterday that she and husband Justin are expecting their first child. Expected to arrive in the winter of 2025. And cute little picture that they used to kind of break this news on social media, with their feet and a basketball with a baby basketball shoe sitting on top of it. If you go to Coach Kim _ on Twitter, you can check that out. But yeah, Kim Caldwell taking on a Southeastern Conference women's basketball coaching assignment for the first time while expecting.
Ooh, yeah. Best of luck. That is going to be something that will be interesting to watch. Baby Caldwell coming, winter 2025. And what is that? 2043? Maybe a potential stud recruit on Rocky Top.
There we go.
Who knows?
Faith in God includes faith in his timing. Baby Caldwell coming winter 2025. So there we go. A lot of new stuff in the Caldwell family for this year. So, let's go ahead and take a break from the Lee Company studios here at First Horizon Park. And when we come back, we will have our first guest, Nashville Sounds General Manager Adam English. Stay tuned when we return after this. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
He shoots, and he scores!
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Wild and Wacky Wednesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely, and that's about half of Adam English. So
how's it going?
We're good. We're good. How about you? We're just kind of shifting on the fly here a little bit. There we go. That ought to get us. That ought to get us. Yeah. Yeah, tighten up down there. Yeah. Adam English, the general manager of the Nashville Sounds, joining us here at his ball yard. Adam, what's been up, man?
Man, we good little win last night for the boys. We have 11 more home games starting tonight and 17 more in total to wrap up the regular season. So a lot of fun stuff planned all week, all weekend. Universal off day Monday, and then we finish up Tuesday to Sunday next week. So it's been a good year, and we're excited for a strong finish.
Is there a giant calendar where you're just ripping off the home games left somewhere hidden in this ballpark?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I mean, look, people know.
Yeah.
You know, we're keeping track.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don's got a little extra pep in his step around here the last couple of times we've been to the
Making
park,
that
so.
final push.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Well, hey, the team's making the final push too. We're only 4 back, 17 to play. Crazier things have happened. They're playing good baseball.
Yeah, we were talking to Colin and Doug prior to the show. You know, the tough thing about the playoff situation, you've got a first half winner, you've got a second half winner. Right now, Columbus is leading the second half. Omaha won the first half. Those two would play a best of 3 to decide your International League participant in the AAA World Championship game. Used to be a World Series.
Correct.
Now it's one game in Vegas against the PCL, the Pacific Coast League champion. You guys are 4 games back of Columbus, but you don't play.
Correct.
And it's a 20-team league, and I think Doug was saying that you all play 12 of the 20 teams. So making up ground on Columbus or Rochester, who is one of the teams ahead of you, really kind of a tough go when you don't have a shot at them head to head.
You know, we just need a little help from the league. We got to rely on them to lose some games, and we need to keep winning. And I think that's an easy message for Rick in the clubhouse, Rick Sweet, is, hey, we can't control that. Let's just go win ball games, which is fun. And again, I've seen it at each level. Like, that winning culture translates up to the big leagues. So these guys, their mentality's got to be, let's go win ball games because we need to make a playoff push. And again, it is tough. 20 teams, 2 teams get in out of a 20-team league. First half winner, second half winner. PCL gets, 2 teams in out of a 10-team league. So they have a better shot out there. But, we play the cards we're dealt, and then all we got to do is go win ball games.
Now, obviously, there are those that would tell you that the minor leagues isn't about winning as much as it is about developing, but you just explained why it is about winning, because wherever you are, you want to win.
100%. Again, having your core group of prospects learn what it takes to win big games, to win championships at each level, that provides a huge amount of experience that they can take up to the big leagues when they're fitting into the bigger roster up there
and doing the things that it takes to win.
And grinding through. Hey, it'd be easy for a lot of these guys to go, hey, we got 17 games left. Let's go out there. We're going to get to the finish line. Off season's around the corner, especially for some of those guys that might not be in line to make a postseason roster. But truly, because of the development factor, they're here to get better every day. And if you're not in line to be on that playoff roster, you're working hard to prove why you should be. And so there's something for everybody to prove. And again, winning's just a whole lot more fun.
Curious kind of to that respect or that regard, a guy maybe that's not in line to get called up this late, but how much work can he do to set himself up for next year? Rather than having to make up so much to start, maybe those reps now count.
100%. All reps count for sure. And I mean, I would say that the message to those guys is the same thing you'd say to 7-year-olds who are starting to play baseball, which is, excuse me, your coaches are always watching, right? Coaches are going to pay attention to how you finish a year, even if you're not in line to make that postseason roster or be there. They're going to see did you coast to the finish, or were you taking extra special care of every single rep, taking advantage of every rep down the stretch. And I think that takes, if I'm a guy like that, I want to take that momentum into the offseason and go to camp next year with the idea that I'm making the big league club.
Yeah, that's what's fascinating to me. And to me, it also seems, we've talked about this with a number of different guests with you guys. You find out kind of who the pros are and like who's really committed to the craft, as they like to say. You can learn a lot about these guys down the stretch in these moments.
Absolutely. That's why you see a number of veteran players at AAA is the organization likes having those guys that teach people, hey, this is how you do this. This is how you take the next step. This is what it means to be a pro. And I'll tell you one pro who we're cheering real loud for is when Brewer Hickling got called up, man. Guy killed it for us all year. When he got called up, it was like, 20 bombs, 40 steals at AAA. What else can the guy do? I love seeing him get an opportunity. And just like we cheer for all our guys to get called up. That's probably the most fun part for us in the organization is you get to know these guys. So when they get to go realize their dream, you're just, wishing success for them every step of the way.
20 homers, 40 steals. First AAA guy to put those numbers up since 2005, I think it was. First Nashville Sounds player to do it ever. And on one hand, the question becomes, maybe it's never been done because nobody's been left down there long enough to put them up. But at the same time, when you're doing that, you are kind of forcing the major league team's hand to some degree, aren't you?
Correct. Absolutely. I mean, it goes back to, what coaches told me growing up. If you hit enough, you keep hitting, they're going to find a spot for you. And Brewer was such a positive influence on our team this year to see him get his opportunity. And the reality is there's a bunch of other organizations where he wouldn't have had the ability to put up those numbers in AAA because he'd have been up earlier. And for him to not, wish, oh man, I wish that I could have, been on another team and kind of thrown himself a pity party the way that he said, look, it's God's plan. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And the opportunity is there. I mean, the unfortunate thing for him earlier in the year is the Brewers have a deep outfield and they have a lot of great players up there. And to your point, he performed so well that at some point you go, hey, we got to bring this guy up and give him a shot.
We were fortunate enough to have him on as a guest early in the season. And when you say that he said it was God's plan, I'm absolutely positive that that's what he said.
Every player deals with the grind, the challenges in different ways. And he was so vocal about his faith and really was, like I said, a positive influence on our team. He really is. And so to see somebody who has kind of stuck to those guns and really believed in himself and believed in that plan, take the next step. It's fun to cheer for.
Helped baptize Wes Clark, is that right?
Yeah, he did.
So
Vinny Capra was supposed to be a part of that as well. He got called up 2 days before. So
just missed it.
Yep. He's going to celebrate in the offseason.
That's solid.
I'm curious, Adam, when you lose a guy like that, you're excited for him. How does the team respond knowing when you lose such a critical guy who seems like one of those classic, just great clubhouse guys? How do you replace that, if at all?
It's the Brewers organization. It's next man up, right? Yeah. You're going to miss that bat for sure. It's an opportunity for somebody to step up. You just mentioned Wes Clark. He's hitting the ball great. Moving Isaac Collins into the leadoff spot took him a few games. He's reached base in 5 straight games now. And so it's opportunities, things adjust. And if you're a AAA baseball player trying to make it to the bigs, you got to roll with the punches. You never know what you're gonna be thrown at you. And our guys have responded, just as we knew they would.
Adam English, General Manager of the Nashville Sounds, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Adam, as much as you talk about loaded outfields in Milwaukee and that kind of thing, and for all the success that they're having, there's been an injury bug across Major League Baseball this year. It feels like more so than ever. And so if you're getting it done here, you feel like you've got a shot. And the guys that we've talked to over the course of the year have said pretty much to a man, I'm not looking up there. I've got to be where my feet are, that kind of thing. But at the same time, you feel like you're going to have a chance at some point with this team to get to the show.
Yeah, I think ultimately you just have to. It goes back to being a pro's pro, right? You go take care of your business and trust that you can't control what you can't control. No player ever wishes injury on another player. But if you stick to what you're doing, you get better every day. The opportunities are going to be there. For a minute there, Mo, I thought you were referring to your beloved Atlanta Braves.
He was close to tipping into the waters there. They've been decimated.
They have. It's been tough to see the number of injuries they've had to deal with this year too. But to your point, it's across baseball.
Yeah.
And everybody from Mookie Betts to, when Austin Riley broke his hand, it was tough. And you hate to see that stuff. But internally here in this organization, we're really just trying to have our guys get better every day. And our staff does such an incredible job here developing these guys. We have a great coaching staff from top to bottom, and that's why we're here, right? That a guy like Devin Williams goes down in spring training, and everybody thinks, oh, well, Corbin Burns got traded. Devin Williams is out. What are the Brewers going to do? What they're going to do is they're going to win the division because they bet on their young talent.
Yeah.
And there's belief in that organization, and it sure has been fun to watch them.
There is a clip somewhere
just getting ready to
on
say.
Main Street Sports Today that we don't know what the Milwaukee Brewers are doing. Clearly they did.
I don't know that we still do, but they clearly did or
Yeah.
do.
I tell people all the time, I said people much smarter, much more qualified are in their jobs for a reason, and I'm glad they don't have to rely on me for anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Away from the field,
Yeah.
how's it been out here this year?
We've had a great year. We have the best fans in baseball. We have some really exciting promotions this week. I'm really excited. Saturday, we're having our first ever Back to Hogwarts night. We actually get with Major League Baseball partnered with Warner Brothers, and we can have a real Harry Potter night at the ballpark. And so we have a lot of fun stuff planned with that. We have 4 different Nashville Sounds hats, each for one of the houses of Harry Potter.
Okay.
We're doing a traditional English feast.
Turkey legs and all.
Oh, I don't know if we're having turkey legs. I know we're having some mince pies and all kinds, some bangers and mash. It's all kinds of stuff.
Couple Quidditch matches in between innings, perhaps.
Oh man, that'd be fun. There'll be some Quidditch promotions, I bet. And again, I mean, so I'm really excited for that because it's at a perfect time. School's been back in session here for a few weeks. Great night to get the family out. Harry Potter's got that similar following that a Star Wars or something like that has. There's a generation of people who now have kids who grew up with Harry Potter. And so we're excited to have that this weekend. Of course, we've got 2 more fireworks shows, 2 more Sunday fun days where people can round the bases after the game. And it'll be nice to end the year, with fans rounding the bases on a Sunday evening. So that it should be a lot of fun.
Adam, do you find yourself, I want to ask you about Home Run Derby X in just a second, but these last 2 or 3 weeks, battling college football a little bit, battling the Titans a little bit on Sunday, that kind of thing.
We do such a good job once football season starts. With the Titans, we always set our Sundays once their regular season starts for 6 p.m. And if they're not home, we'll flip that game back to an afternoon game because Sunday afternoons in September are typically nice. We haven't really felt. I mean, again, I think that we have such great fans of all sports here in Nashville that we're not going with. I mean, Tennessee played early. Vandy played early this last Saturday when we had Home Run Derby X. We had a great crowd out for that. And again, I think there's more to go around. High tides raise all ships, and I know a lot of people are excited about football. Me being one of them. But ultimately, our fans are so great, and we see good crowds.
Tell us a little bit more about Home Run Derby X. Had you seen it before?
No, I had never seen it in person. I'd seen videos. We talked about it, weekly from April leading up to the event last Saturday. And man, did it live up to the hype. It was so exciting. The final match it came down to Manny Ramirez, Jocelyn Allo, and one of our local season ticket holders, Kyle Bowers.
Okay.
Versus Nick Swisher, Alex Hugo, and another local hitter named Bailey Holbrook.
Swisher was in the finals, of course.
Yeah. And he played great. And Manny's team, they were wearing their Sounds red jerseys. They were down 11 going into Kyle Bowers at bat, the third hitter. He hit 7 or 8 home runs, popped up a couple, which the other team got points. They're down 4 points with 45 seconds left. He tagged in Jocelyn Allo, which is a rule in there. If you start to get fatigued, you get 1 tag in. Man, the first pitch to Jocelyn, I think she hit one that hasn't landed yet. She came back and walked it off and won it. It was very exciting. The women in the contest absolutely showed out. The local hitters showed out. Bailey Holbrook was the MVP, local hitter. Kyle Bowers' team won it. And a pretty good story to have a Sound season ticket holder be on the winning team for Home Run Derby X, hitting with Manny Ramirez and Jocelyn Allo. So it was a ton of fun.
And Allo walking it off, the all-time leader in NCAA softball history for home runs.
She's incredible, man.
That sounds like a really perfect script. The real question I have to know, was Manny being Manny?
Oh, always.
Was he
always.
We ran into him in the when the media junket was here, and it seemed like he's always got that about him, but just making sure.
He's pretty chill, but there's a little bit of Manny being Manny out there, and honestly, it was great. The first batting practice round for Manny, well, let's just say it wasn't up to his standard.
Okay.
Right? So the second he gets done, Andrew Jones is standing out on the field. He's like, "Hey, it's supposed to go over the fence. Like, chirping him away. His next batting practice session, it was just 15 home runs.
Blasting them.
And so, I think the cool thing about the former MLB guys is you see that competitive fire still living in them, and they want to perform well. And then the other thing for these women who are participating, they're still actively playing every day. They're younger. Like Jocelyn's in her 20s. And man, they really showed out. It was a lot of fun. We had about 6,000 people here, 7,000 people here, something like that. And it was every single person I talked to had a blast. And then we put on the first ever drone show in First Horizon Park history afterwards, which was very, very cool.
We've seen some cool events outside of the box per se. Savannah, obviously this event. Does something like this kind of already get you excited about what could be down the road? I'm sure we'll be reading and having you on talking about something again next year as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're always brainstorming about ways to bring unique events to the ballpark. We've got some irons in the fire. Not ready to share them quite yet.
I understand. I'd at least try.
Well, when you do get ready to share them,
we'll share them with you guys.
Now we're talking.
That's what I'm talking about. Adam English, General Manager of the Nashville Sounds, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Adam, we appreciate your time, man.
Appreciate both you guys. It's always great to have you guys out here at the ballpark, and you're welcome anytime.
Thank you,
Adam.
When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more baseball, talking the next level. Stay tuned.
Do you want to be a bad man? Yeah, you do. Do you want to taste sweet salvation underneath the summer moon? Do you need another hand now? Yes, you do. Go see Miss Josie down on Columbus Avenue. All right, Columbus Avenue.
Welcome to JHA Company, your trusted scholastic partner. We continue to serve schools with yearbooks, letter jackets, and graduation regalia. But now we offer so much more. Our school photography division offers high-quality images that capture the spirit and energy of your students and staff. Let us help build your identity, creating a cohesive look that represents your school's values and traditions. Our e-commerce solutions make it easy for schools to manage and sell their branded apparel online. Let's work together to make every school year unforgettable. Visit our website or contact us today to learn more. JHA Company, celebrating achievements, building identities, and creating memories.
Robertson County Chancery Court is hosting an in-person court auction Saturday, September 7th at 10 a.m. Buy up to 9.46 acres of beautiful Robertson County land, selling in 2 tracts. Each tract includes water and approved soil areas. Located at 4637 Boyd Holland Road. Join us Saturday, September 7th at 10 a.m. Sales subject to court approval. For more details, call 615-384-5650 today.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com. September 4th, 2001, Andrew Jones's ninth inning leadoff home run was the difference in Atlanta's 3-2 win at Montreal in front of an announced attendance of 3,613. Smallest Olympic Stadium crowd in 17 years. With the win, the Braves moved 3 games ahead of Philadelphia in the NL East, while the Expos slipped 20 games under 500. Steve Carsey got the win, and John Smoltz picked up his 5th save. That was this day in Braves history. 36-13. Announced.
Yeah, announced. That is.
Which means that there were less than that there.
There were probably more dogs at Tail Wagon Tuesday last night at First Horizon Park than were at that game, it sounds like. Yeah, that is when the announced is that low, that's tough. But the win counts nonetheless.
Oh, without question. I meant to look at this when I was putting that together. How much longer were the Expos in
now that is a good question.
Montreal after that? Because it kind of feels like those might have been kind of the last days, so to speak.
Going out
2004
was right there.
Their last year. So yeah, they became the Nats in 2005. Braves with a much needed victory last night, 3-0 over visiting Colorado, opening a 7-game homestand after that Philadelphia debacle. But you know, anytime the Braves send Chris Sale out, there's a chance for something like that to happen. He is now 16-3 with a 2.46 ERA and 206 strikeouts. The strikeouts are the most for a left-hander in Braves history. And he leads, I think he leads Major League Baseball in all 3 of those categories: 16 wins, the ERA, and the strikeouts. Triple Crown leader. So he goes 6, 7. I think he went 7 last night to get that win. And I think it really just kind of helps the Braves offense relax a little bit when he's out there, because they know that they don't have to go out and score a bunch. He gives up 6 hits, strikes out 9.
Yeah, on one hand, it feels like a little, trying to kill a gnat with a 44. Throwing Sale versus the Rockies, but on the other hand, hey, you can't leave nothing to chance at this point.
No, and the Braves have had other situations like that did not quite pan out. So yeah, it does kind of feel like killing a gnat with a shotgun, but at the same time, the gnat had to die.
And beggars can't be choosers at this point. They need wins any way they can get them. And you're right, even though the offense only scored 3 runs. It does take a little bit of the pressure off, knowing that, on most nights, 2 or maybe 3 for sure is going to be enough.
It's going to be enough. Yep. Absolutely. Atlanta's 14th shutout of the season, which ties Philadelphia for the Major League lead. So the pitching has been solid, if not spectacular, throughout for the Braves. And if they do manage to hang on to this postseason berth, it's going to be the pitching that's going to key that the rest of the way here. Only tough thing last night was in the 7th inning, Whit Merrifield took a pitch to the back of the head, 95 miles an hour, up and in, got his head turned. It hit him right at the edge of the helmet and the head and his head. And it was by one of the Colorado relievers who had not long been up. And trust me when I tell you, Whit wasn't very happy. Mark? Oh. Mark? Do we have that video? Maybe we don't have that video. Never mind. There's a video up of Whit Merrifield expressing his displeasure.
Predictably pissed, you might say.
Predictably pissed. Yeah. I mean, you take 95 to the back of the head. To the back of the head, not to the back of the helmet.
Yeah,
to the back of the head.
No, thank you.
Yeah, from one Jeff Criswell.
Oh,
so
and
yeah,
and so what ensues after that? Anything?
No, he told him to throw the ball over the plate in no uncertain terms. But yeah, Witt came out, had to be pinch run for. CT scans were negative, but I do not expect to see Whit Merrifield at second base tonight. So it'll probably be Luke Williams, who came in for him late last night after that 7th inning hit by pitch. Bradley Blaylock, 1-1 with a 4.98 ERA, gets the start for the Rockies in this 620 affair. Charlie Morton, 7-7 with a 4.26, will go for the Braves as they try to continue to maintain their lead over the Mets for the final wild card spot. The Mets are a half game back still in that wild card chase. So Braves need to keep winning and ideally get some help, but certainly keep winning. The Mets, by the way, play Boston. So the Red Sox could do us another solid after trading us Chris Sale over the offseason.
Yeah, this is that'll be a fun series to watch because Boston still has faint hopes of making the postseason, and they're sitting there at 70 and 69. So I mean, the Mets, in theory, are the better team at this point. But yeah, both teams are kind of clinging, and it feels like almost kind of like a loser leaves town situation.
Absolutely.
Whoever wins this series gets to stay around for another series in the proverbial wild card chase.
After, again, an odd off day, Houston and Cincinnati retake the field at the Great American. It's the Great American Ballpark, but if you've been there, if you've seen games there, it's the Great American Small Park. But they continue that series up there. Spencer Adighetti.
He's gonna get a little go. So he's gonna throw. The thing with the Skyline Chili's, they put it on spaghetti. So I'm seeing what Adighetti. Let's see what he throws out. Yeah, they need to get a dub tonight because you can't be losing to teams like the Reds at this point in the season.
Adighetti 7-11 with a 4.63 earned run average. Nick Martinez going to the bump for Cincinnati, 6-6 with a 3.78. So yeah, again, Houston in a pretty good spot as we continue to talk. Thomas Harding assured you back in the spring, you're going to be fine, relax, everything's okay. And sure enough, that has been the case. But you don't want to slip up, you don't want to let down right now either.
Yeah, it'd be nice. If anything, it almost kind of feels, I mentioned on the show yesterday, their pitching was insane in the month of August. It almost feels like potentially maybe they peaked too early in that sense. But yeah, you get into the postseason, you'll be happy with that. Considering how bad things were and how bad things could have gone this year, the fact that they are almost a lock to get in the playoffs. Fangraphs currently, after last night, has them up to a 98% chance to make the playoffs. As long as they get in, whatever happens, happens. Don't really anticipate them going very far in the postseason, but hey, at least it'll be fun to check them out.
Just get in. I mean, if you're one of the last 6 in the American League, you can, see what happens.
See what happens. They've been there before, won a couple of times. Maybe spoil the Orioles or Yankees parade. They've done it to the Yankees a time or two. Maybe they could do that again.
Speaking of the Orioles and Yankees, the Yankees just slipped into second place in the American League East last night, a half game behind the Orioles, following Baltimore's 9-0 win over the White Sox, and New York's 7-4 loss to the Texas Rangers on a Wyatt Langford grand slam.
Oh, not a good recipe. That's going to be that series or that race all season long has kind of been back and forth. It feels like the Yankees are going to pull ahead and finally pull away, then they fall back. And then it feels like the Orioles are going to do their number, and then they pull back. And it almost feels like who's going to get hot at the right time, or maybe who has the more favorable schedule down the stretch. Although, as we've seen with both of these teams, sometimes an easy opponent doesn't necessarily mean an easy win.
Did I say grand slam? I'm sorry, I meant walk-off grand slam.
Woo! Man.
Yeah. First by a Rangers rookie. Langford has 3 walk-off hits this year. The first Rangers player with that many in a season since Josh Hamilton in 2011. Dude's got a flair for the dramatic. Of course, he is from Florida, so
flair for the dramatic, and that's one. Depending on what you're over under, you bet that game at yesterday. You're either really thanking your lucky stars or you're cursing the gambling gods, because there's only one way you could win or lose, and a grand slam to walk it off. Ooh, baby, for a 7-4 final.
No doubt. Much has been made about the Dodgers Angels series at Angel Stadium this week. The return of Shohei Ohtani, who's getting ready to go 50-50. I'm just resigning myself to him being NL MVP and going 50-50. I don't think there's any way he can't at this point. But a number of people in and around baseball seem a little perturbed at the Angels that they aren't throwing a parade in conjunction with Ohtani's return.
Interesting.
What for the time that he spent there, for what he did there, for what he did for the team, supposedly, they should be showing him a little more gratitude in his return than they are. What are your thoughts? It's not like they traded him.
Yeah, I mean, in this day and age where everybody gets a highlight video, I mean, the seventh man off the bench for the Grizzlies gets a highlight video when he comes back to Memphis. I mean, it feels like one of the greatest players in the history of your franchise should probably potentially get a little more love. I'm not really caught up to speed on the extent that they are kind of.
I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly what it is that was expected for his return or in his return, but the Angels said on the front end that they weren't going to do anything special for him, and that was a comment and a decision that, again, has been pretty universally panned across baseball. Like why wouldn't you roll out the red carpet from the dugout to the plate for him and that kind of thing? I don't know.
Looks like there might have been a video, and looks like he might have got, a decent reaction from the crowd.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
And I'm sure.
But they didn't orchestrate anything out of the ordinary for him, it doesn't sound like.
Oh, yeah. At that point, I mean, I don't know what you could realistically expect or anticipate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to some extent, the Angels are the Angels. They're not. Some would argue they're not capable as a franchise in general of orchestrating such a impressive feat. There's a reason they're the Angels, right? So maybe we shouldn't perhaps be surprised even.
That needed to be said.
That's the way I thought about it. I mean, hey, it's not as if this is the Yankees or the Braves or the Red Sox coming and really, producing one of these dramatic moments. I mean, this is the Angels. This would be like the Athletics rolling out a situation here and everybody saying, well, that's about what we expected.
Yeah, exactly. One of the a highlight from last night's Dodgers-Angels game did not involve Shohei. It instead involved the guy who calls himself the volunteer fireman.
Okay.
Angels reliever and former Tennessee standout Ben Joyce.
Ooh.
Closed out the ninth inning with a strikeout of Tommy Edman on a fastball clocked at 105.5.
Holy mama.
It is the fastest strikeout pitch in the pitch tracking era, which began in 2008, and the third fastest pitch ever recorded.
105.
105.5.
Woo.
Of the other four of the top five pitches, all had been thrown by Aroldis Chapman.
I've seen Chapman pitch in person, and I don't know if I've seen one of those, but I've seen him throw some gas in the ninth inning.
Here's what's crazy. So Aroldis Chapman's fastest pitch was 105.8. threw it on September 24th, 2010. Nearly 6 years later, on July 18th, 2016, he was clocked at 105.7. 6 years, and he hadn't lost any more than that. After Joyce's 105.5 from last night, his next two fastest were 105.4, also on July 18th of 2016, and 105.2 4 days later.
So he's, man.
So he had maintained that velocity for 6-7 years. I don't know if he gets up to 105 now.
Yeah, probably not now, but still, man.
But,
yeah, like you said, for that long of a layoff. Does it list opponent on there, by the way?
It does not.
We saw it. The Pirates came to town. That was the series we wanted to go. It was sweet because we got to see McCutcheon do his thing, Prime McCutcheon, and then, Chapman throwing gas. And it was in July. But either way, even if I was there, Joyce is now eclipsed because, man, 105.5, I mean, I can't even – if you could guarantee my safety, if you could guarantee my safety.
Whit Merrifield would say no.
Yeah, I mean, after the story we've read about Merrifield, I wouldn't do it. But if you could guarantee my safety, I would stand in there just to see what it felt like. And
we could put you in like a 6-foot cage and just stand you at the plate.
Man, I mean, to the untrained eye, I mean, the difference between 90 and 105 to me ain't really going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but that is bonkers. The former Vol getting it done.
Absolutely. His average fastball this year is 102.1. So
he's one of those young kids that we talked about with Christian Moore, right? Getting to the big leagues in a hurry. He was kind of the one that really kind of got moving and grooving for them.
Big time.
They don't stay in the minors long for that.
Well, especially with that kind of gas. So, yeah. Hour number one of Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, is officially done. When we return to the Lee Company studio of First Horizon Park after this break, we will reach into the grab bag. Stay with us after this.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Wild and Wacky Wednesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. This is the Grab Bag, and the AP Top 25 poll came out yesterday. We did not get much of a chance to discuss it, even though we did have David Ubben on. But there was plenty to discuss without it. But Georgia, surprise, surprise, is ranked number one. Getting 57 of 62 first place votes, the Bulldogs did, and getting set for Tennessee Tech to come to Sanford Stadium on Saturday. Tennessee Tech out of the frying pan into the fire.
Man, yeah.
From middle last weekend to Tech to Georgia.
And that's tough, right? Because I mean, you know, they probably thought they had a decent chance. And then obviously, realistically, at the end, they did have a chance to win that game. So, man, you could have potentially had a little extra juice rolling into that game. Not saying, obviously, you got a snowball's chance versus Georgia, but they were close to rolling in there at 1-0.
Yeah. Ohio State number 2, Texas, Alabama, and Notre Dame rounding out the top 5. Ole Miss, Oregon, Penn State, Missouri, and Michigan 6 through 10. 11 through 13 is Utah, Miami up 7 spots to 12, USC up 10 spots to 13, Tennessee and Oklahoma. Oklahoma State 16th, followed by Kansas State, LSU dropping 5 spots to 18, Kansas and Arizona. And your final 5 are Iowa, newbies from the Atlantic Coast Conference, Louisville, Georgia Tech, and North Carolina State, and dropping 11 spots to 25, also of the Atlantic Coast Conference, Clemson. Clemson Clemson and LSU are the only 2 0-1 teams in the poll. Falling out, conspicuous in their absence, Florida State.
They gone.
And not only is Florida State not in the top 25, they are not receiving votes either.
Yeah, tough go for FSU. And, man, Boston College, they're right on the cusp. And
27th.
I saw them a little bit last year and knew that they could be dangerous. And I thought they might give Florida State a good game. I did not anticipate them pushing the Noles around like they did in that win. That was a crazy, crazy game. Florida State looked awful.
Among others receiving votes is a certain black and gold team located not far from here.
Oh.
Vanderbilt with 8 top 25 votes.
Wow. Props to Clark Lee in the doors.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was a big win.
Huge win. And now they've got Alcorn coming in here this weekend. And the thing that they have to do is maintain momentum. I mean, you don't just have to beat Alcorn State. I think you have to beat them pretty decisively to, continue, as you like to say, the good vibes from that Virginia Tech win.
It'd be nice, right? If you're a Vanderbilt fan, man, you are just hoping that this ain't no 14-10 game going to the second half, or 17-10 going to the fourth quarter. You're just begging that
you've got to go out
21-0, 28-0.
You've got to go out there and step on their throat.
Yeah,
from the start to the finish. You got to empty the sideline.
It'd be nice
and just take care of business, because again, after you beat a team like a Virginia Tech, you know, as we were talking to David Ubben, the expectations kind of change for you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that is for sure a win that nobody saw coming. And it's a big win in the just college ball landscape, but it's a massive win, obviously, when you dial it in closer to home with Vanderbilt. That could be a program season-changing win for them for sure, kind of like you're alluding to there. And Vanderbilt is receiving those 8 votes. You know, I don't know if this is a rule or Vanderbilt's law, whatever you want to call it, but you lose to Vanderbilt week 1, you don't get any votes. And so Virginia Tech, they're gone.
Where were they? I don't know what they were ranked last week.
I don't know that they were ranked. I think they were probably right there in that little sweet 27 to 28 spot. I'll see if I can pull that up or digging around here. Big Ten with an SEC continue to dominate. Yeah, you mentioned USC. That is a massive win for them to kick things off. You know, now all of a sudden the Big Ten's like, hey, we like having you guys around here. So welcome aboard, guys. It was a nice dub.
News off the field, as apparently the Mountain West has declined the opportunity to include Oregon State and Washington State, the Pac-2, in their football scheduling agreement for 2025. Article from a couple of days ago on CBSSports.com obviously creates some uncertainty for Oregon State and Washington State for that 2025 season. The Mountain West and the Pac-2 had agreed to a 7+1 scheduling contract, allowing Mountain West teams to play 7 league games in either Oregon State or Washington State for 2024. There was an option for 2025 to continue that. The Mountain West, for the 2025 season, the Mountain West and its member institutions are moving forward with their conference and non-conference schedules. Our focus remains on the current season and our exceptional teams. So after watching the Pac-12 disintegrate around them, Washington State and Oregon State have maintained their membership in legally the Pac-12 in order to, you know,
buy some time.
Well, not just that, but it's financially a boon for them because they've got all of the NCAA basketball tournament shares that everybody in the conference had earned. I think they've got all of the bowl payouts. I mean, it's financially quite lucrative for Oregon State and Washington State to maintain their membership in the Pac-2. However, going forward, they're in a little bit of a bind from a scheduling standpoint, obviously. So, you know, you just wonder whether or not it's worth it. And obviously, what happens next?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Reading just a little bit here on The Athletic, and they're saying, you know, maybe you don't, you're not able to get that deal with the Mountain West as a whole. Maybe you just pick off a few schools here and there. Because, yeah, after next year especially, they've got 6, both of these schools. Actually, Washington State has just 5 games confirmed in that regard. Oregon State was 6. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to have to start really kind of kicking the tires on some things, or else you're going to be, like you said, it's all well and good, but that's the beauty of having that conference, right, is they take care of a lot of the scheduling backbone for you.
Oh, no question. Yeah.
Virginia Tech, 27th to start the season.
Okay, so they were not in the top 25, but they...
Louisville, 26th, Virginia Tech, 27th, technically.
But Virginia Tech's not receiving votes at this point either.
No longer.
So, like you said, you lose to Vanderbilt, and things typically don't go very well for you. So, yeah. Things not going great for the Sun Belt Conference's replay center.
Ooh.
Arkansas State was credited with a 7-yard touchdown reception with 3 seconds remaining in their eventual 34-31 win over Central Arkansas. On the field, Field judge Terrence McClain of Nashville called it an incomplete pass. The replay review center, because all scoring plays are reviewed, overturned the call and said that Arkansas State receiver Corey Rucker actually caught the ball. Now, the ball hits the ground. And again, Terrence McClain is all on it and calls it incomplete. And it's overturned somehow.
I don't know.
In an incorrect application of the replay review process, the replay official was focused on the firm control and body down aspects of the catch, of the act of a catch, and failed to evaluate the surviving the ground aspect of the catch during the review of the play in question.
This is tough. I'm watching. They're showing like 6 replays on this one clip here, and I've gone back and forth a couple times on this.
They were more concerned with where his foot was than whether than whether the catch survived the ground or not.
Classic eyes were looking potentially in the wrong spot. Man, that's a wild situation.
The right end zone camera shows the receiver did not survive the ground, but this camera angle was not consulted by the replay official. The replay ruling should have confirmed the on-field call of an incomplete pass. So if you see Terrence McClain walking around here in town, just kind of pat him on the back. Say, we got you, bro.
Man, Butch
you got
Jones,
it right.
Butch Jones, good, clean living.
There we go. Absolutely. If you know Patrick Surtain, now might be a good time to see if he'll let you hold 20,000.
He's good for it.
I believe he is. The Broncos extended the cornerback 4 years, $96 million. He is the highest paid. Is he the highest paid cornerback or the highest paid defensive back? Highest paid defensive back in National Football League history with this extension. $77.5 million is guaranteed. So, securing the bag.
He's been a great performer. So in one sense, it's cool to see him get rewarded. What is this tweet here? For historical reference, Darrelle Revis' 6-year, $96 million contract for Tampa Bay back in 2013 represented at that time 13% of the league's salary cap. So I guess this is putting into perspective here. Surtain's $96 million extension now only represents 9.5% of the salary cap. Remember, they increased the salary cap in the offseason, which benefited several teams. Some folks would say the Titans especially.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Surtain is getting rewarded, the Broncos are going to be fun. That AFC West is going to be a really interesting division this year. Everybody's assuming the Chiefs, rightfully so, probably just going to run away with it. But I think it's going to be a fun division. I'm excited to see what happens with those squads out there.
Well, I mean, I think San Diego is a little of an X factor. You don't know what you're going to get out of them with the first-year coach and with a relatively experienced quarterback in Justin Herbert. You've got an experienced coach and a first-year quarterback in Denver with Bo Nix and Sean Payton. Antonio Pierce has got the wheels.
Supposedly the Raiders' defense is going to be legit this year.
You would expect that with a former linebacker as your head coach.
I kind of like the makeup of all the identities of those teams in that division. I don't know if it'll play out that way, but I think it'll be entertaining this year.
I think you're right. I mean, again,
especially if Kansas City does like they did last year and kind of sleepwalk just a little bit. They may. I'm not even saying it has to come down to the final week. I'm not even that greedy, but. Kansas City, let them sleepwalk just a little bit, let them stub their toe tomorrow night, just like they did last year in the opener. And then, the doors may be open and we'll have a fun little division. Just at least get me to, like week 12 or something without it being a KC runaway, and I'll be all right.
As you bring up tomorrow night, I'm reminded, what is that?
Tomorrow and Friday, you got to set your fantasy rosters early this week. With double games.
That's right. My concern is, do we get Is that Ravens Chiefs?
Tomorrow night. And then
it's on NBC.
Yeah,
okay,
and
so
then-
we're good.
And then tomorrow, Friday will be the Packers and
Eagles in Brazil.
In Brazil.
And
they're
what
gonna
is
wear
that on?
And they're going to wear green. And I forget which channel that's on.
That's on Peacock.
There we go.
It doesn't matter because we'll be otherwise detained on Friday night.
Yeah, that'll be one for everybody else to keep us informed of. But
Absolutely, yeah. Tweet us.
down at the Corinthian Stadium. Yeah, no scheduling snafus.
Mm.
I think I know where you were going with that, but yeah.
Yeah. Big time concern. I'm a little concerned again about that Saturday UT North Carolina State game that's on ABC.
Ooh, yeah. That will be.
I'm gonna have to find somebody. If anybody doesn't have DirecTV that will be watching UT and North Carolina State, holla at your boy.
Yeah, Facebook will not be a pleasant place to be, or Vol Twitter will not be a pleasant place to be on Saturday. I guarantee you that because folks are going to be angry.
Yeah, people who don't realize, aren't paying attention, aren't thinking far enough ahead. And the thing is, there's some conjecture out there. Some people are saying, well, I'm getting ABC. I'm just not getting ESPN.
Nice try.
I'm not getting ABC.
You ain't getting it any. I don't think any of them. Troy at Memphis is on ESPNU. Pitt at Cincinnati on ESPN2. These are the 11 a.m. kickoffs. Kansas State at Tulane. And then you have Arkansas State, Arkansas at Oklahoma State. That's that early window.
Now, that's just ESPN, right?
Yeah, ESPNU, ESPN2, ESPN, and ABC.
Don't forget the SEC network.
McNeese, yeah, you get to see Texas A&M maybe bounce back. They got to play McNeese State, so they should be okay there. But then, you roll right into the afternoon, South Carolina, Kentucky. That one's out. That's your 2:30 kickoff on ABC. Because remember, no longer on CBS. So this is going to be real dicey for some folks. UTSA at Texas State comes your way on ESPNU. That gets you through to later in the evening. And then USF and Alabama is an ESPN kickoff. I mean, there's
a lot.
It could be. I think it's October 12th is like the mega weekend that's coming up that everybody's really excited about. They're just bonkers games that weekend.
Yeah,
if for some reason that it is still not resolved by then, then we will have reached nuclear holocaust levels because.
What is Greg Sankey's Twitter account? G Sankey?
I believe so.
It might be worth following this weekend.
Man, yeah. He called him out.
Buffalo plays Arizona in week 1 of the NFL season. Starting at a safety for the Bills this weekend will be Damar Hamlin. Will be his first start since that January 2023 game against Cincinnati where he literally died on the field. Played in 5 games last year, did not start, obviously. But this is, getting all the way back for him.
Yeah, and it will be another heartwarming moment in kind of this wild recovery story. The cynic in me also wonders, if the Bills, when he ran that fake punt last year in the playoffs and got blowed up and everybody's like, if you thought that was a decoy, come on now. Maybe, this is a chance to the other thing I'm wondering is if he's back and is healthy and is really at a high level, this is great, right? But if he is not all the way back and at that elite level, what does that say about the secondary right now for the Bills? The fact that he's drawing the start.
That's
versus the Cardinals too, who a lot of folks, let Marvin Harrison Jr. tune him up for 200 yards and a couple of touchdowns one time, and we'll see if he starts in week 2. But again, I don't know kind of their depth chart, right? And I'm hoping that he's back, and I'm hoping he's playing at a high level because it would be such a great story to see him all the way back, especially if he could do something crazy and get a pick or even obviously a pick 6 or fumble.
Absolutely. Yeah. Got to be rooting for this guy. Got to be.
And I'm assuming that's a home game too?
I cannot tell.
Because if that is a home game, that Bills Mafia will be going bonkers.
Yeah, they'll be throwing folks into tables and all sorts of stuff.
That'll be awesome.
It is a home game.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah. So it is a 12 noon Central Time kick on CBS. part of the early window there. So, we said we'd talk a little WNBA. There are 8 playoff spots in the WNBA. 7 of them are claimed.
Ooh.
One of those is by the Indiana Fever. First time in like 8 years, I think, that the Fever is in the playoffs. So kudos to them.
7-year drought.
Yeah. They clinched with losses last night by the Sky and the Dream, and right now they are official. Right now, if the season ended today, they would be the number 6 seed. Now,
crazy to think about because I haven't been watching any of these games lately, but they've been on fire. They're like the second hottest team in the league.
I watched probably the second half of their game against Dallas. I think it was on Sunday, maybe, and it was pretty much back and forth, and Dallas just kind of stopped making shots late and couldn't take advantage of a couple of Indiana turnovers that would have kept them in the game. But yeah, they have been playing some pretty good ball here. Obviously, not just Caitlin, but Kelsey Mitchell, and of course Aaliyah Boston is just Aaliyah Boston. But right now, the Liberty is 27-6. They're in. The Sun is 24-9. They're in. The Lynx out of the West also 24-9. The Aces, your 2-time defending WNBA champions, are 21-12. They're in. Seattle 20-13. The Fever at 17-16, and the Mercury at 17-17. Sky, Dream, Mystics, and Wings are within 2 games of each other. The Sky and the Dream are each 11-22. The Mystics are 10-23. The Wings are 9-24. So it's coming down to the wire. How many regular season games?
I forget the number, but I did just look this up. The playoffs start on the 22nd. So we're just a little over 3 weeks away from this showdown really getting going. And, WNBA execs are excited, obviously, that Caitlin Clark and the Fever in. They are really hoping that the Sky get in as well because they're looking to sell a little more.
You got to keep that storyline going. Yeah, if there's any way possible, and they certainly want to do so. What did we say? The Fever is 17-16, or the Fever are 17-16. They play tonight against the Sparks, so that would be 34, 5, 36, 37, 38. So they played 38. Surely they play more than 38 games.
That's a pretty low number.
Well, it's an odd number too, 38.
Current projections on ESPN: Atlanta Dream 53.5%, Chicago 36.5%. It's basically them two, which is nice because you don't want to think too much. The Mystics been playing well. They just picked up their 10th win of the season with last night's victory. They're only about an 8% chance in these rankings on ESPN. So Dream versus Sky, basically almost kind of a play-in situation almost down the stretch for those two.
Apparently they play a 40-game schedule.
Okay.
Because the Fever is 17-16, and they've got 7 games left starting tonight against the Sparks. So 40-game regular season. Should be interesting how this thing plays out. Like you said, surely WNBA officials want the Sky to get that final berth and keep that Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese storyline going for as long as possible.
Yeah, rest in peace, David Stern, but he would make sure the Sky would be in this thing. That's all I'm going to say. They've lost 7 in a row, though. I mean, they've got nobody to blame but themselves in that regard. After playing so well in the middle portion of the season, this post-Olympic run has not been great for them. So, yeah, they're duking it out versus Atlanta. And like I said, the Mystics are just 1 game back, so something must be up with their schedule why their odds are dramatically lower.
Let's take a much-needed break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we return, we will be joined by the VOTT. Stay tuned.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Wild and Wacky Wednesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. In our final segment, we will bring you the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news from across the globe. Right now, though, we're going to the wackiest guy at Nissan Stadium or at Soldier Field this weekend. The VOTT. Mike Keith. You can find him at 10TENN Voice on Twitter and on Instagram. Mike is upping his social media game, and pleased to have him with us as always. Mike, thanks for taking some time. I know you got a lot going on.
It's good to be with you. We're excited on Titans Radio tonight at 6 o'clock. We're starting the season run of Titans Tonight with Keith Bullock. And we're fired up about getting that started tonight. And so everything's sort of, in kickoff mode as we head toward kickoff weekend. A lot going on, but it's always a very fun week.
So you've got Mr. Monday Night on Wednesday night then.
We have Mr. Monday Night on Wednesday night, which I know probably doesn't make a tremendous amount of sense. But Mr. Monday Night currently is Brian Callahan. And I think Mr. Monday Night of the past understands that the head coach is on Monday nights. So I hope he does.
Hey, you've been busy getting ready for the season. I saw you were in Evansville yesterday.
I was. I was at the quarterback club, the oldest quarterback club in the United States since 1937. I've been there. If you take out the COVID, I've been there in person for over 20 years each year.
That's pretty cool. And the thing is, when you say Evansville, Indiana, if you're not familiar with a map, it sounds like, oh my God, what is it? 215 maybe?
It's 215. That's all it is. It's roughly 152 miles from where I'm sitting right now, not far from you. And it's it's closer to Nashville than it is to Indianapolis. And so we have a lot of fans. We're not allowed to market there because that is their state. The same
But
way they tried to come into Tennessee and market when their quarterback was a Tennessee guy. You may remember those days. But yeah, they wanted to come in. So that and I respect that. I respect that the NFL doesn't think that's cool. But we're right across the river in Henderson, Kentucky. We're on radio there. And we've got an incredible following in Western Kentucky. We invested a lot of time in Western Kentucky from the jump. And you really go Bowling Green to Paducah, all the way to Henderson and everywhere in between. And we have a really massive fan base. They love the St. Louis Cardinals in baseball, and they love the Tennessee Titans in football. They never really took to the St. Louis Rams because the Rams didn't come there and do anything. And we did. And I think it's paid off for us quite well over the years. And we continue to have a very big presence over there.
that's pretty cool. And it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know what you do relative to other play-by-play announcers across the National Football League, but your, kind of community outreach and watching that, and I'm so glad that you are being more active on social media now so that I can kind of keep up with you. But it's really kind of cool to see you out mixing and mingling with the people, shaking hands and kissing babies and that kind of thing. And again, knowing you for as long as I have the way I do, it's right up your alley. So it's really, I hope the Tennessee Titans appreciate having you as the ambassador that you are.
Very nice to say that. Unlike my father, who really felt like my political science degree was a complete waste, here it is. I'm campaigning all the time. So it works. I love it. I get out and I'll do over 100 different events a year. And they're all different kinds of things. They're quarterback clubs, which are fun, and, civic clubs, school events, different sports banquets, things of that sort. We had a night with the Chattanooga Lookouts. And so I was thrilled to go down there and have a chance to see our fans there. We've always marketed ourselves as a regional team because when we started, Nashville wasn't nearly as big a market as it is now. We needed Memphis and Chattanooga and Knoxville and Paducah and Birmingham and Huntsville, and we still do. And the thing that we knew that we had, that we really tried to emphasize from the start, is people in this region driving 3 or 4 hours to see a football game, that's nothing. People think around the country, especially in the Northeast, they really didn't understand it when we started because they're like, you mean there are people who drive from Knoxville to Nashville and back in the same day to see a football game? And it's like, well, yeah. And they're like, well, that's a big thing. It's like, well, not really to them. That's and from here, does somebody drive from Nashville to Auburn to Tuscaloosa to Knoxville to Starkville and that's just done. And nobody thinks anything about it. And I think we've been able to capitalize on that theory. We're one of the few NFL teams that very specifically, very strategically tries to be regional. Denver is a regional team. The Minnesota Vikings are a regional team. Kansas City Chiefs, a regional team. The Green Bay Packers are a regional team. Washington has always very much been a regional franchise. In the heyday, the George Allen days, their reach into the Carolinas was a huge deal towards their following. So there hasn't been a lot, but we have been able to capitalize on that, and I think we've been able to build on it over the years. But the whole thing, guys, is you got to go see them. You can't just say, hey, we'll send you a flag, and you do that some. You send out different things, and that's exciting and fun. But you've got to go see people. You've got to let them know you appreciate them. And I think it goes back to the political science thing. The best way to get somebody's vote is to ask them. That is still the best way to do it, is to stick out your hand and say, I would appreciate it if you would vote for me. And in the NFL, the theory is, hey, we would appreciate it if you would support our football team. And we used to say, and I guess we'll say again in 2027, if you come see us play, especially if you've never been to an NFL game, you will come back. And I think it's proven true. It's a great product. Why would you not want to be out selling it?
Absolutely. And never forget those early formative years, you guys coming down all across southern middle Tennessee with the caravan, out to our friends, our previous owners out at Holly's Printing out there. So, I mean, you remember those big stops. And like you said, it was a necessity back then because other than obviously the 99 season absolutely knocking it out of the park, I mean, that was critical for a young franchise in that regard from a marketing standpoint, right?
And we could do it at that time too, Wade, because we were in a position where the off-season program was 16 weeks. And so Coach Fisher would allow a player or players to be gone for a day on the caravan, and he would count it as a workout day. And so that was something he could do. When I'll never forget, we were doing a family cruise in 2011 when they settled the strike, the lockout. And when I saw what one of the conditions was that the offseason would be shortened from 16 weeks to 9 weeks, I knew the caravan at that point was on its last legs. And we continue to do it for a while, and we've had some incarnations of it where we've taken it out. But the deal was we would leave in a bus and we would be gone all week. And then we had a driver who was just one of the all-time great human beings ever, who would bring players out and then take the other player home. He would switch them out every night. Oh, wow. And so we would end up, and that's how you got Steve McNair to do it, Javon Curse to go on the caravan, Eddie George, Chris Johnson, all the great players did it. And it was because of that and because they could afford to be away. Once we got into the new system, 9 weeks, it's hard because the OTAs are a massive part of that. Not only the workouts, but the OTAs, the mini camp, all that. It's just not as feasible. But the caravan lasted in a strong form. It lasted 15 years. And I meet somebody every week who says, you came to my school, you came to the Kroger in my community, you came to Holly's Printing in Pulaski. There were so many great opportunities. People have these pictures of Javon Curse palming their head when they were a small child and, so on and so forth. You don't ever forget it.
Mike Keith, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Mike, what's the itinerary for you guys? You go up Saturday, you go up Friday. How does it work? What happens when you get there? That kind of thing. I'm always fascinated by the anatomy of a road trip for various teams.
Ours has been the same for years and will stay the same under Brian Callahan. We basically want to be at the team hotel at 5:00 local time, whether that's Eastern on one of our trips or Central on the majority of our trips or even Pacific. So, we're leaving out 3:00 on Saturday, and we'll land at 4:30 and take the bus to the hotel and be there at 5:00. And so that gives you time to catch dinner. You can watch a little college football. You know, we're pretty much freed up. We don't really work on Saturday nights at that point for the broadcast team. The hay's in the barn, and then get up and you're taking a bus 3.5 hours before the game to the stadium, and it's on. It's a really quick trip, and like the trip to Chicago's funny because we'll land in Nashville 7 o'clock on Sunday night, roughly. And so I'll be at Starbucks getting a coffee because I've got to go home and do writing for our TV show and our radio show the next day. And people say, "Hey, wait a minute. I thought you,
the future.
Did you do the game today?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, I did the game." And they'll say, "But you're here." Like, that's the beauty of charter flights. When we had to fly commercial in 2020 and 2021 during all the COVID, that was quite a challenge because getting back was the hard part. Getting there was not hard, but getting back, because sometimes the games would end late enough that it would be easier to just spend the night and then get up at 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday and fly back, which was awful. So the charter back is a beautiful thing because you can work on the plane ride home, and then you get home early enough in most cases where you can immediately go to work. The only difference this year will really be the Monday night game. And that'll be hard because we'll probably land at 3 o'clock in the morning and have to go. I'll probably just come here and sleep on the floor rather than drive all the way home and drive all the way back.
Now, you mentioned, Mike, Saturday Night Football. Have you all checked out who your TV provider is at the hotel that you'll be able to see all the games?
We are working on that as we speak. As a matter of fact, it's my job to call and see if we're in one of those scenarios. A friend just had me on his show in Chattanooga, and he said, "Hey, where do you like to go in Chicago?" And I married a girl, now a lady, from the Chicagoland area. So I like to go eat pizza. I like to go eat Italian. I like to go to Ed DeBevick's and be harassed by the waiters. And, there are plenty of good places to eat in Chicago. Where I would imagine we will be the place where we can watch Tennessee and North Carolina State. Mm-hmm. And that could be Bob's Pub and Subs, or what. It may not be typical Chicago fare. It may be whatever, because we've got to be able to see a certain college football game Saturday night.
Absolutely.
Whatever can get the job done. Hey, real
That's
quick,
right.
Mike, I wanted to ask you this. Mo was talking about your social media presence, and we're talking about your travels now. He doesn't know I'm doing this, but what can you tell us about a guy that might be your kind of almost bodyguard, Mr. Jack Mummert? This is a big gentleman that's got some football experience, and he travels with you a lot, and he can move some bodies if he needed to. If somebody got too close to you.
Yeah, Jack played Division II center, and up in Pennsylvania, and he is a large individual. I won't, much like Tavondre Sweat, I won't say what I think his exact weight is. Jack is one of our videographers. He is one of our content developers. He has a great relationship with football, in large part because he was a football player. And I guess game recognizes game, right? He's a good dude. And one of the things I really like about Jack is not only is he creative, but with the football background he has, he knows how to blend in. And when you can do that, then the football people really start to trust you. And then you can come out with extra special content because you're in those spaces naturally without people worrying about you being there, much like the Hard Knocks folks. And Jack does that along with another gentleman named Max Walsh. And they do an incredible job of being in those meetings, being in the different spaces. We're going to do a whole Titans All Access, which is essentially a behind the scenes with Brian Callahan. And they've been allowed in some different, like they were in the room when Jelly Roll came in. That was who football wanted in the room when Jelly Room busted into the team meeting a few days ago. And so that tells you something about the amount of trust that they have developed within football, which really says a lot.
Mike Keith, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Mike, we should probably talk a little bit about the game.
Sure.
Rookie quarterback on that side, a defense under a new defensive coordinator. But, I mean, do you kind of feel a little bit like that's the first storyline in this ballgame?
Oh, yes, quarterbacks. It has to be. I mean, it's Will Levis taking over our franchise, and then a franchise that has been starved for great quarterbacking. They hope they've got their next Jordan in the city of Chicago. And I mean, those are huge shoes to fill, but let's face it, if you're in Chicago and you're a Chicago sports fan, the Ernie Banks, Michael Jordan type star is what they're looking for. They've never had one. They've never had one at quarterback for the Bears. I mean, you think about Bob Avellini, Mike Douglas, Vince Evans was there. Jim McMahon was certainly there.
You mean it wasn't Jay Cutler?
Well, Jay's been, I think, the most talented they've had, but he was not a guy who elevated them to different levels in terms. I mean, they've never had a guy throw for 4,000 yards. I mean, their two best, if you look at the realistic history, would probably be Bill Wade and Sid Luckman. So if they have found their guy, if he is what they think he is, and by the way, I think he is, I think he's that good. This is going to elevate their entire franchise. The town had embraced Justin Fields, as a star, but I mean, I think what it came down to with Fields is he just didn't throw the football well enough, and I mean they averaged 131 yards passing per game last year. And this is whether you're in high school, college, or the pros. This is a throwing game now. This is where we are. This is why Derrick Henry is in Baltimore, and we've revamped what we do. It's not that a Derrick Henry's not great, and it's not that a Justin Fields is not a super athlete. It's that you've got to be able to throw effectively. And so the two quarterbacks are undoubtedly the story. I mean, their stories 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then 6 is whatever you decide it is.
That said, Tennessee's defense's ability to make him uncomfortable Sunday goes a long way towards a happy plane ride home, I guess, right?
Sure. And I don't think you're going to do it just blitzing either. I think it's going to be a lot about coverage. And what I mean by that is I think it's going to be a tremendous amount about, taking Keenan Allen and taking DJ Moore and taking Cole Kmet and even a DeAndre Swift out of the backfield. Velus Jones, who is obviously going to play some sort of role for them, I would think. It's about making sure that those guys are covered and that he has to hold the football. Because there's no quarterback that's ever been produced who holds up well when he has to stand there and hold the football. And that's what you want to make a rookie quarterback do, because as great as Caleb Williams is going to be, he's never played in a real NFL game. He will Sunday. And I hope he wins his next 16 after this one. I hope he wins Rookie of the Year, MVP. I hope we see him in the Super Bowl in New Orleans. That would make me so happy. But for this week, I hope he is a tortured soul.
Well said.
Mike Keith, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Mike, thank you so much. Enjoy whatever it is that y'all wind up eating while you watch that UT-NC State game on Saturday, and we'll catch up with you soon.
If we can find it, yes.
Godspeed.
Good luck with that. We'll talk to you.
Thank you, Mike.
See you guys. Thank you.
Let's take a break. Let's come back for the final segment here on Wild and Wacky Wednesday on Main Street Sports today. We'll be right back.
Robertson County Chancery Court is hosting an in-person court auction Saturday, September 7th at 10 a.m. Buy up to 9.46 acres of beautiful Robertson County land, selling in 2 tracts. Each tract includes water and approved soil areas. Located at 4637 Boyd Holland Road. Join us Saturday, September 7th at 10 a.m. Sales subject to court approval. For more details, call 615-384-5650 today.
He shoots and he scores!
So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.
We good? It's the final segment of Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. We're at the Lee Company studios of First Horizon Park. And again, it's the last segment of Wild and Wacky Wednesday, which means it's time for Wild and Wacky Wednesday, where we bring you the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news from across the globe. We will start in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes.
Kentucky bowling team breaks world record with 2,032 strikes in 24 hours. 4 bowlers, Louisville Steve Wiseman, Trace Wiseman, Kyle Reed, and Eric Howard, completed a 24-hour bowling marathon at a local bowling center, aiming to take down the Guinness World Records title for the most strikes in a 24-hour period in 10-pin bowling with 4 people, a category requiring a minimum of 1,200 strikes to inaugurate the record. They reached that goal a little bit over halfway through, 14 hours in. They bowled for 24 hours, ending up with more than 2,000 strikes. Video evidence is being submitted to the GWR for official verification. The Wiseman brothers already hold the world records for most pins knocked down in 24 hours by a team of 2. Most pins knocked down. And the same record for a team of 4. But they have now, or they're trying to get verified, that they have set the record for most strikes. So...
You know, I always am fascinated by these Guinness Book of World Records that are brand new. It's like, how would you even think? I mean, I suppose theirs makes a little more sense if you're already kind of in that realm and that domain.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the ones that kind of just pop up like most pogo stick bounces in 24, stuff like that. I'm just like, who comes up with that? How do you think of the, hey, that is what I want to aspire to for my next achievement?
It's pretty nuts, but I don't think I want to bowl for 24 straight hours.
No, man, I'm not gonna lie. You give me like 2 or 3 games max, and I'm already kind of getting tapped out.
I mean,
same with golf. Like these guys that play, 5-6 rounds in a day. Sometimes, no, give me 1 and I'm done.
You can't use that arm the next couple of days. I mean, between the shoulder and the elbow, and
yeah, and that's what I'm wondering. What kind of strategy goes into that? Because these guys are professionals, at least a couple of them, it sounds like. And so,
and do you let one guy bowl?
Yeah, I mean, you
just keep bowling and then you switch them out, or is everybody bowling the entire 24 hours, or how does?
That's a good question. I do give them respect and props though, because you set the record. And you didn't just rest on your laurels. You said, you know what? We got 10 more hours of bowling.
Yeah, let's see if we can put this where nobody can get to it. Kind of Cal Ripken it.
I can relate to that because I've been into bowling alley many a times, and you look up at that clock and it says you got like 5 minutes left. Guess what?
Boom.
We playing ready bowl, baby. Absolutely. Props to those guys.
Wade, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about Jim Dreyer, a Michigan ultra swimmer who got lost in Lake Michigan when his GPS device malfunctioned. He was just out there literally trying to swim from Michigan to Wisconsin, out there in the middle of Lake Michigan, helplessly lost.
Yeah, just out and about.
Well, if at first you don't succeed.
No.
An ultra swimmer is trying again to cross Lake Michigan from Michigan to Wisconsin just a few weeks after trouble with a GPS device forced him to give up after 60 miles. Jim Dreyer set out after 6 o'clock Monday in Grand Haven, Michigan, said the journey would take 80 miles in the water and last 72 hours or more without sleep. So he is closing out. Well, he's closing out what? Monday, Tuesday to Wednesday. Okay, so he's roughly 48 hours in as we speak.
No.
He will,
on one hand, I kind of get it, though. You're kind of all amped up and you feel like you left a lot out there on the table and, you don't want to train all over again. But on the other hand, man,
He will also be towing, or he is towing, a small inflatable boat with supplies, including batteries, I assume.
Yeah, I was going to say a couple backup GPSs, hopefully.
Yeah. Again, he did this in 98, come from Wisconsin, from Two Rivers, Wisconsin, to Ludington, Michigan. But he's tried 3 times since 2023, unsuccessfully each time, including last month. So, I don't know. I wish him luck, and hopefully he will get it done this time and then leave it alone. Maybe.
Yeah. That's tough. I'm looking at his website, jimthesharkdryer.com. They're calling this the Lake Michigan Silver Sequel, putting an exclamation point on an athletic career. You can donate. That's the only thing that makes this, remotely humane or acceptable is the fact there's a charity cause involved. Otherwise, that'd just be psychotic. But Chief Petty Officer Association is a charity, I guess, that he's kind of raising funds for and awareness for here. So
I think
the shark, man, woof.
I think what I'm going to take from that is putting an exclamation point.
Yeah.
Maybe this is it.
You would hope.
Yeah.
If we're doing a show here at First Horizon Park and this time next year, we're talking about Jim the Shark Dryer. Come on, man.
No.
After he completes it. If he falls short, you get one more. I'll give him one more chance. But he's got to wait. I don't want him doing another one in like 2 more weeks.
Yeah, not next month.
Yeah, you got to sit this summer out at that point.
Chill. That's going to do it for Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today. That's going to do it for Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Thanks for joining us here in the Lee Company studios. Get you a quick snack, get you a quick nap. Be sure and come back to these same social media platforms here in about an hour to check out the Southern Middle Tennessee High School Football Show with Wade and myself. So we will see you otherwise tomorrow, 2 o'clock. See you then.